You're listening to the Tumbling Saber Podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Podcast Network. Check us out on the web at starwarscommonwealth.com, on iTunes, Facebook, and Twitter, and take your first step into a larger world. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 85 of the Tumbling Saber Podcast. My name is Kyle.
My name is Corey.
And all of my systems are nominal.
Yes, all systems nominal.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go. Busy weekend? Good weekend? How's it going?
Oh, very busy. Quite tired as well. I'm surprised, actually. I'm not that tired, but, man, I did a lot as well, man. Chilling with the neighbors, pretty much went boating all weekend. It was the best boating I've experienced yet so far.
Chilling, boating. I don't know why I'm not tired.
Wow, I mean,
So you skipped Dad's birthday so you can go boating?
Well, I'm going to see him tomorrow, but yeah, pretty much.
Wow, you dumped the Monday, the weekend visit for the Monday visit.
Yeah. Dude.
Wow.
You're not going to get weather like this. What do you want me to tell you? It's
When's his actual
the best
birthday?
2 days.
His actual birthday was Thursday.
Thursday.
Oh, that's okay. You're okay, Corey. If his actual birthday was Sunday and you're doing the Monday visit, then, sort of maybe a bit shifty.
I've talked to him 10 times since, and not only that, if anyone understands, it's going to be him. Again,
you can't go by understand. Your dad is never going to say yeah, that bugs me. You can't go by that.
No, he's going to be nice. How's the water?
Yeah,
it was finally
he's your dad.
awesome, man. The bay was so calm. I parked the boat, boom, no problem. Both shots, both times. Everything was awesome. All
Nominal?
systems were nominal. Yeah.
Systems were nominal. I can attest to the power of ibuprofen. I really had a bad headache coming on 15 minutes ago. Pop 2, and already I can feel it taking effect. I'm feeling much better, ready to go.
I know it varies by person, but for me, Tylenol is completely useless unless I take 4 of them at once. Ibuprofen is magic.
Vitamin A, Advil.
Good God.
When I was a ski instructor, we used to take it almost daily, and that was the joke we'd make.
I mean, it's exactly what it is. I don't know why it makes such a difference for some people, but holy cow, I can't even look at Tylenol. It's just, it screws me every time. I think I'm going to get something out of it, and I get nothing.
Yeah, you're right. Different people.
It all works for me.
Anything? There wasn't a whole lot
Toys,
related to
man.
Star Wars at San Diego Comic-Con as far as the movies go. But we got a lot of toy news, which we'll touch on very briefly, and a lot of stuff about books and comics that Stephen and I will cover later this week in Journals of the Willing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to give that one a listen for sure, because I did see a lot of stuff that was coming out.
What do you mean that one? Are you saying you don't listen to the other ones?
Most, I'd say, yeah, it depends. Depends what the material's about, really.
Oh, Jesus. No loyalty. Nothing.
Hey, man, if I haven't read it, I don't want to get spoiled. But,
You're never going to read it. That's the thing.
Don't worry about that.
How many feet high is the stack of comics you have that you haven't read?
Oof. 2 feet? Oh, of Star Wars or everything?
Everything.
Everything? Oh, shit.
2 feet of just Star Wars. That's amazing.
Oh, man. I don't know. I couldn't even really guesstimate.
And
10, 12 feet?
He's that's easier to measure in kilometers.
Wait. Conservatively, you're saying you have 10 feet high worth of comics that you've not read?
No. Maybe, let's take it down. Let's say 6 feet.
That's an insane amount of comics.
Yeah.
That's in the hundreds.
Yeah.
You're
sure.
you're never ever going to read those. Ever.
We'll see.
Because that pile just keeps getting taller before you put a dent in it.
I got to cut some titles, but I'm still... There's several that I'm pretty
You could cut all your titles right now and still be catching up for another year.
Yeah. That's for sure. And that's like reading like quite a few comics a day.
Oh, you're never catching up, dude.
We'll see.
You may as well listen to the show and get spoiled because you're actually never going to read the comic.
I don't know.
I do.
Well,
I've seen
we'll
this
find
movie
out.
before. Anything catch your eye, toy-wise, Corey, at SDCC?
Yeah. Well, obviously the Luke and Ray. I want that Thrawn so badly. That exclusive Thrawn. God.
Is that the one with the set, like in his office or something?
Yeah, it comes with the Holy Grail and everything, man. Like the real Holy. It's like a shout out to Indiana Jones. Like he's got, his little. He's got like 4 or 5 artifacts. Jedi guard mask, a clone trooper mask. He's got those little pet dragon things there. That. Anyway, it just looks so awesome. There's also something interesting with the Build-A-Blades. Did you see that one from some mediocre Jedi posted? Now again, I don't think it could and it might not mean anything, but remember that
was
scene
it the one
saw?
they put like a new blade out with Rey on it, and I think they came out and Hasbro came out and said that this does not mean she's getting a new saber in the movie.
Well, basically what it looks like and what the description on the back of the thing is, it kind of looks like it can attach to her staff. Her staff, which she's so familiar with fighting with. And you kind of see that in the behind the scenes sizzle reel, right? Like she's taking on those 3 guys. Oh, but she does have a lightsaber in that, eh?
Yeah, she was just holding a lightsaber.
But there was another scene where you kind of see her with a staff at one point, I think. But either way, this thing a lightsaber can connect to this staff, but then I think Hasbro again made a statement saying like, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're just Build-A-Blades, so you can do anything with them, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, how stupid would that be? She's got like a 5-foot long staff, and then you attach a lightsaber to the end of it.
Hey, I don't know, man. You never know. She seems very familiar with fighting with that staff. I'm not gonna rule it out.
Oh God, the image of that in my mind is ridiculous.
It would look weird, you're right, but
I think they can make it cool.
You think they could?
I think they could. It's like when they fight with that really long. I'm thinking of a scene in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, where like,
yeah,
there's a particular fight where they go through a whole bunch of weapons in the armory. They basically use them all, and like there's a really, really long weapon that involves this particular technique of like lunging and stuff. Anyways, I think it's
the scene at the beginning too. The scene at the beginning too, where he's like Tom Cruise is like super injured and they're like surrounded, and he's like, that's where he sees the tiger, right? That white tiger, and he's like trying to attack everyone, and then the guy comes and like lets him live, I guess, for the moment.
Are you talking different movies?
Cool. Definitely talking different movies.
No,
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. There's no Tom Cruise in there.
Oh, you're right. I was thinking The Last Samurai.
Yes, you were. But it's the same weapon.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Similar
Yeah,
weapon.
Yeah. Crouching Tiger is awesome too.
And did you guys, anybody see the image of the Hasbro Resistance ski speeder?
Yeah.
That thing looks cool.
Yeah, it's neat. It's like I don't know, it just seems so, all their ships seem so like kind of sad and like just cobbled together kind of.
It seems about as accurate as you could want then. That original speeder's pretty, when you watch that movie, it's like, oh, they're towing that.
He could leave the keys in the ignition and nobody would take it. But, yeah, anyway, it confirms that Poe is behind the wheel of that thing in the behind the scenes footage, which is cool.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into Star Wars news here. What little there is. So Rian Johnson last week gave out one word from the opening crawl. One lonely word out of what we figured, when we did our exercise way back in episode 35, somewhere in the upper 70s to 80s. So same thing. He gave us one of those words. So he said on creating the perfect crawl that he almost called it petrifying. He said, actually, I just did it. I just started writing the draft. I wrote something and it was terrible. And then I was watching one of the behind the scenes things and Lucas said, it's like writing a haiku. I realized as I was refining it what he meant. We didn't finish the opening crawl and totally lock it for a few weeks ago, actually. Because you're like, do we need this word? Do we need that word? What if we shift? It's like a poem where there's very little room for error in trying to get it just right, which is awesome. It's really fun. Which I think the three of us can sort of attest to. We went through it all, and it's sort of a painstaking exercise. Exactly that. Like,
I think James bailed, to be honest.
Corey, you're misremembering that. I'd like you to go through some old tape and prove what you're alleging.
I think what actually had happened, James didn't read any of his on the show. Not that he didn't do any, it's just that mine and his were so alike that he deferred.
That sounds more similar to what happened. I'm pretty sure Corey's going to have to dig through some tape to back that up. And since I know he won't, you can just concede that you're wrong.
Well, whatever. I'm pretty sure that does sound familiar. That does sound like the excuse you gave, but I don't know.
Anyway,
awesome.
The big word of the moment is decimated.
Oh, baby.
So, I checked the tape, and none of us used that word in our trailers.
Sucks.
So we're already off the trail here.
Yep. But that's
although
a great word.
We did use destroyed. I know I used destroyed. It's kind of close, right? It's a synonym.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more synonymal than nominal and normal.
So what do you guys think? Is this what do you think?
Synonymous?
We're going to take a guess here. Is decimated in reference to the Republic, i.e. Hosnian Prime, or is decimated more in alignment with the First Order and their loss of Starkiller Base, or something else? Has something else been decimated in the interim?
Ooh,
they should be talking about a place, but it could be like, Leia was emotionally decimated by Han's death.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
it's definitely one way of looking at it. I definitely have to see it in the sense that it's the resistance, or the wake of what the galaxy almost really, has been decimated in its wake, like the Republic, whatever, But I think
what about Rey the Scavenger? Always hungry. She decimated Luke's pantry.
Good one.
That's what I would
God,
do.
I hope not. I hope the word pantry is not in the crawl.
I hope she's not allergic to shellfish.
Maybe she's been having like pork barbecue.
How dare you, Kyle? How dare you?
I love the porgs, man. They're the best little creatures ever.
Porglets.
Like the best tasting?
Oh, they should make the rotation into our tastiest Star Wars creatures.
Because they look like they'd be like you make chicken nuggets out of them.
I would almost think they get a buy.
Like you don't touch them?
Yeah.
Pretty sure you eat them because cute things are the tastiest. Think of like veal.
Well, it's
so much
the
more
innocence
tender
that
than
tastes so
beef.
good.
That's right.
Bunny?
Unicorn?
Yeah. Hassenpfeffer unicorn.
Did you just go
Corey,
Hassenpfeffer?
Stop going to that butcher. You know why I know that's Hassenpfeffer's bunny, right?
From Looney Tunes.
Of course.
Jesus. Where else do we get educated on such things? Looney Tunes. That's the one where Yosemite Sam tries to cook Bugs Bunny in a pot.
Yeah, they're pretty violent, those old episodes, actually.
Oh, they're outrageous, man.
They're so good.
Yeah, they're great.
They're
Kill
classic,
the wabbit.
but
Kill
man.
the wabbit.
Those old misogynist attitudes from the 50s and 60s are just hardwired right into those cartoons.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when my daughter was younger, I was like, let's put on Looney Tunes for her. And I just watched and I was like, oh my God. This is, I mean, generations of 3-year-olds grew up on that stuff, but I was like, wow, this doesn't fly anymore. This is crazy.
That's interesting. I know I've said this before, but I took a class in college called the Cinema Beyond Childhood. And it was all animation and looking at it through the time frames that they were filmed in, kind of, and what it said about society, kind of. It was so cool.
Outstanding.
Yeah, awesome. Who gave that class?
What was his name? His name was Jacques something. Dude, this guy looked like
took a film.
Jacques Bloch. What's his? Oh, geez.
He was a bartender by night in St. Anne's. This guy looked like he was straight from the Matrix, man. Like he had like crazy metal glasses, like total steampunk in like the early 2000s, you know, with like a leather trench coat. You look at this guy and you're like, man, this guy's a badass biker. And then the next thing you know, you're in his class and he's like, check Mickey Mouse and what he's saying.
I was gonna say Black awesome. Jacques Chirac, also from Looney Tunes. I think he was a Quebecer.
French Canadian anyway, yeah.
Yep. Anyway, so did we finish up on Rian Johnson's Decimated here? Do we have a guess? Final answers?
I think it's just the
definitely
overall.
They're going to be talking about like I'm going to go with
like the fact that the Hosnian Prime system is gone is kind of like
Resistance is decimated.
Or Republic, with the decimation. Well, decimated. Decimated by the loss of the Republic, kind of, you know? The Resistance, whatever.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Republic being decimated. I don't know how much room there is for other to steal the day, but you never know.
I just find it interesting as well, what he had said about writing it and how, you know, he played with it. He wrote it, he just dived into it, played with it, rewrote it, got feedback, bounced it off people, and kind of just seems like he had a lot of fun with it. So I think it's going to be a real treat, this crawl.
I hope so.
Poop.
But you know what? He's trying to tell us something like, he's trying to give you a clue of something, right? And that's not a clue of anything new, but if in the interim, like he's trying to update us on what happened between the movies, if in the interim Kylo Ren completed his training, say, and like, I don't know, decimated a bunch of, you know, I don't know, killed a bunch of people, that word of that summary would be interesting. Like he's letting out like a little secret of a part that we don't know about. Now, I don't think that's specifically what he's talking about, but it would make sense if he's letting out a secret that word isn't just the Republic. I don't know if I'm making sense.
That makes sense.
No,
there could have been a battle where the First Order, because the First Order knows where the Resistance is, that, you know, after the Resistance blows up Starkiller, the First Order shows up at their home base and decimates them.
Yeah, that's it. It could be like the
that's
complete
more likely to be it.
Yeah, it's like can be like the complete reverse. I see what you're saying. Like it's a word where people are going toward a certain direction, but it's pretty ambiguous in the sense that it could still mean anything, which is why it's a great choice of words when if you're having to choose one, you know, because it's safe.
It
or
could
is
fit
it safe?
At the beginning of the crawl, and it could fit at the end of the crawl. You know, as just so as it leads you right into the present moment, saying that, you know, the First Order has retaliated and decimated the Resistance forces on Dakar or something like that. It won't be written that way, but that's the takeaway.
All right, I think we've decimated this segment.
Yep, as usual. So StarWars.com confirmed that Kylo's personal TIE fighter is actually called the TIE Silencer. And we discussed this a couple months ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. We had seen some Lego pictures of this. And then more recently, we saw its name leaked. It was sort of written in Aurebesh on the body of a pinball machine, the Last Jedi pinball machine. But now we know it's called the TIE Silencer, which is that's a badass name, no?
Yeah,
I give it a 7 or 8 on 10. I don't think it's amazing, but it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Like it gives you that that image almost of like an assassin, with the silencer gun kind of.
But yeah, it tells me that whoever is flying this thing is going to silence whoever he's after. That's the tone it leaves me with.
Oh, yeah, but that's not a very tough word. Like, as opposed to like the Punisher or the Destroyer or the, silencer. I don't know. It's a little less strong.
Yeah, well, it's not as firm a word or aggressive. That's yeah. I mean, when you look at something like Starkiller versus Silencer, those are very different connotations behind those words. But yeah, I dig it. And at the time, I don't think it was a unique insight, but I said, this is like a mashup of Vader and Vader's TIE Fighter and a TIE Interceptor, and that's how StarWars.com is describing it. So, bang on.
That's because they heard you say it,
I guess.
Thanks, guys, for listening.
Yeah.
I think the first thing that stands out to me in the whole thing is, I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, and then it gives you some of the specs anyhow, and it's 17 meters long from wing to end on the wings. 17 meters. I was like, wow, that's quite big, like.
Yeah, 50-something feet. It's not a tiny little ship. It's Kylo Ren's, right? He's not going to have a crappy little 12-foot dinghy.
No, but I can't see, I don't know, like compared to another TIE, I want to see it proportionally beside another TIE fighter now.
Couldn't be that hard to do.
I don't think that's very big, frankly, for a wingspan.
I think that was the wingspan or the length, Corey?
The length.
Yes.
So, are we going to see this in a full-blown dogfight, or is this going to be just something we see him, in transit from one scene to the next?
Hell yeah!
They didn't name this thing and not put it in a dogfight. It's coming.
Exactly,
yeah, we're going to see,
dude. And just the description giving on it too, like this guy's going to be an insane pilot. Like I might even go out there and say like the best Skywalker pilot of all time. Like, think about it.
The synopsis on StarWars.com called Kylo an expert pilot, inheriting skills from his dad.
I'm not inheriting, being taught the skills from his dad. He's inherited the Force from, that other side of the family. Now,
would you like me to read what StarWars.com read?
Well, it's fine, whatever. I get what you're saying, but just the Force on the one side. Look at Anakin and Luke. They had who knows? I guess they had some pretty good teachers too, maybe. But flying came to them naturally. Now, flying could have came to Kylo naturally, but you pretty much have the best coach in the galaxy from the get-go, plus the Force. Like, dude, he's going to be a pretty awesome pilot.
Do you think this sets up like a Poe versus Kylo dogfight? I mean, they went to pretty big lengths, right? In TFA to make Poe out to be the most amazing, most daring pilot out there.
Yeah, I mean, why not? He's gonna have to find a new ship. But if anyone's gonna go up against him, like, I think Luke's
it could be Rey. Rey could be over. Rey could do a little battling with him too. Hey, Corey, how long the length do you think the Falcon is? I just looked it up.
The Falcon, I'm gonna go. I don't know, maybe 30 meters length.
35.
Okay.
So this is half of that.
Still big for a TIE fighter, but I get it. He gets the pimped out TIE fighter, but still. I just found it proportionally, I found it a little large. That's all. Makes it a little more of an easier target.
Not if Kylo Ren's piloting. Anyway, I'm sure this thing has top of the line everything. Top shields, top hyperdrive, top weapons.
Yeah.
So are we going to see Kylo versus Poe or Kylo versus Rey driving the Falcon?
That could be either of those. Because Rey definitely, I think it's going to be Poe personally, but certainly Rey could fit there as well. And Vader's TIE Fighter is 6.3 meters, Corey.
Personally, I don't know if...
I'm just letting you know, just to give you a perspective. I wasn't sure either. It sounds long, but
How long is
close
it?
to Vader's.
Say it again?
6.3.
6.3. Wow, it's quite different, no?
7 point, what'd you say?
17.
Oh, 17. Yeah, it is quite different.
Well, just those wings. It's the parts of the wings that shoot way out. That's where all the length comes from. Boy, we are really doing what Star Wars fans do. Nitpicking.
Yeah, we're breaking it right down.
Man.
No, whatever. I just found it interesting, that's all.
No, you're right. That's, compared to Vader's, it's more than double. So, like, I knew it looks longer, but more than double, so it's pretty long.
You think he has a bathroom in there?
I hope not. That'd be too
I would
luxurious.
think so, for sure. He's got
Dark Helmet would have a
spa.
bathroom in his fighter, but not Kylo Ren. Come on.
He's got it built right into his suit. Never taking this off, Grandpa. But yeah, I just man, I forgot what I was gonna say now. No, I don't see that.
Like Robin.
I don't see Kylo Ren going up possibly maybe against Poe. I don't really think against Rey, but if you really want to see him in action, he's gonna like probably go up against some like red shirts kind of in a way. You know what I mean? Like just start smoking people. Boom, 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 boom. You know, like maybe Poe comes in to save the day at the end, like kind of shoos him off. But he's definitely gonna have to go up against a bunch of nobodies to show us his piloting prowess.
You would think. Yeah, I would agree with that. You would think you need a sequence to show just how devastating a pilot he is. No doubt.
He'll decimate them.
Or you just, I mean, instead of having him take out a whole squadron, you just have him take out a cruiser by himself or something. Like pick it apart. Not just like, I'm going to just shoot the bridge. Just like destroy its defenses, destroy its shields, and then just pick it apart like a psycho little kid pulling the wings off an insect.
This thing's got laser cannons and missiles. Like the missiles should be cool.
Decimate
a
rebel base.
You could definitely inflict a lot of damage, you would think.
Sorry, resistance base.
I can't wait to see this thing in action. This movie's looking better and better every day, man.
So true. He's setting the bar pretty high for my expectations, man.
Oh, yeah.
This is it, man. Like, seriously, think about this. Like, the more I think about going to see Star Wars movies live in theaters, especially with you guys and all that, like, it's like, man, it's really once in a lifetime stuff here, man. Like, I don't know. Like, who knows? The next few movies, maybe this will be the best movie, like, till the day we die, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? But I know the circumstances surrounding this film and being a game changer. It's really a pivotal moment in our fandom, kind of, you know?
Well, Corey, we know that you're going to love it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I probably will, you know, like, I probably really will, but...
Like, what would it take for this movie to top Empire or A New Hope? Like, I think we all have the same 1-2 punch as far as our favorite Star Wars movies. But what would it take to top that?
That's tough.
It is tough. And,
well,
it's
got to have the visual imagery and that mythos. It's got to have that. It's got to have that Star Wars vibe, that magic, and it's most likely got to have a huge reveal, which, you know, it's looking like it's going to go that way. But again, the visuals are a big part of the reason why we love Empire, along with the story. You know, it was such a game changer at the time. But well,
like I said last week, Empire wasn't super well received with fans at the time. It was too much of a departure, and it only after years of, you know, fans rewatching and having it on home video for a while, slowly it seeped its way into fandom as being the best.
It was also super open ended with like possibilities that people didn't want to believe. Like Vader being the father, Luke's father, was like pretty controversial, and people wanted to not believe it was true. He was lying for a lot of people, right?
Absolutely. And it's a movie where the bad guys win. Who likes movies where the bad guys win? that could be what happens in The Last Jedi. But really,
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
It's probably the case. I mean, usually in the way these stories are told, in any 3-part story, never mind Star Wars, the second part puts the heroes in the worst possible spot. So, yeah, the First Order is probably going to win in this movie.
Colin Trevorrow is going to start his crawl by really decimated. I'll give you 2 words, guys. 2.
Very decimated.
Extremely decimated.
Completely.
Decimated. Bigly. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't know what it will take to top Empire or A New Hope. Because a lot of fans do have TFA at the top of their list. Even Rogue One at the top of their list.
And who knows? Yeah. Us too, like, James, I don't know if this is the case for you, but I'm pretty sure it is. In the sense that, you know, we saw these films and we're able to watch them back to back if we really wanted to. So we didn't watch them live in theater like Kyle was just saying. So maybe we will mull this film over for a bit and be like, oh man, it's the best after some consideration. Or maybe just right out of the gate we're going to be like, this is amazing, you know, but I definitely think it's going to take some time to process this film for sure.
Oh, we're going to have to take some antacid tablets with this movie. There's going to be some digesting. There's the podcasting, the blogging after this movie comes out is going to be off the charts, trying to figure out what the hell we just saw. It's going to be crazy. And dudes, it's coming fast, man. It's like, what are we now? Like 145 days away?
Something like that, yeah. It's insane.
Man, oh man. It is coming
it's gonna
fast.
Be the 100 before you know it, we're going to be saying we're less than the 100 marker. And I clearly still remember us saying, oh, we're at the 300 marker.
Yeah, we used to do it every week. I mean, back when the show first started. But now, I was like, we'll just do it, you know, once we cross a big milestone. But I don't think I've announced it since 200.
We should start, once it gets once we're in double digits.
Oh yeah, once we crack 100, I'll start doing it like every week. If I remember. So Daisy Ridley from D23, this is a holdover story. She said that Luke does not extend a welcoming hand to Rey in The Last Jedi, which that kind of caught me off guard. Like that, we all kind of theorized that, but it surprised me that she actually confirms that. Were you guys surprised by that? Like pretty absolute statement?
Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, I am too.
Like I was very surprised, but it made me think like, I don't know, it's so blatantly put out there that I was like, is it? I don't know. I doubted the validity.
You think she's just straight up lying and Luke rolls out the carpet for her?
I think there's maybe a loophole.
Uh-oh. Corey?
Yeah, I could take this one. Well, I don't know. Okay, he doesn't extend an open arm to her. What I'm going to try and take away from that is that he's not giving her a free ride. Like, he's going to put her through the ringer. We said before that, you know, Jedi training is not easy, and Luke's not going to make it easy for her. To be honest, she has a monumental task ahead of her, and so does Luke, and Luke knows that. Who knows if Luke's even up for the task, but in the long run, he has to have a 6-minute Jedi program lined up, you know? Like, he's got to get her. She's off to a good start. Don't get me wrong. Like, she's off to a really good start, but she's got a lot to learn in a short period of time. And Luke, being a teacher for as long as he was, hopefully he can have a Cole Notes version of the Jedi ready to go. But I think, again, what we're going to be learning in this film is going to change our knowledge of the Jedi. And, you know, Luke's either has that knowledge or they're going to find it together. But she definitely has to have an advanced training, that's for sure. If anything, and it's not going to be easy. He's not here to be her friend, you know what I mean, at the beginning.
Well, and that's it. It makes it sound like, that statement makes it sound like he's not going to train her, or he's going to need convincing, which maybe is true. But what if it's, you know, like her loophole is the fact that no, he doesn't extend a hand because he says something like, your training's already begun, get to work or whatever. Like there is no debate about him training her. He doesn't extend an open hand because he's like all business off the bat. I don't necessarily think that's what happens, but that's the kind of loophole that's possible.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I kind of just took her at her word, which is that Luke shows up and he'd just as soon have her leave and never come back. But I think they want to paint that picture of Luke early on, maybe, that he's this old curmudgeon that just doesn't want to be a part of anything. But I think he's going to change his tune relatively quickly, whether he has a change of heart or he sees the necessity of it.
The Knights of Ren show up?
The Knights of Ren shows up. I think, Rey could just say, your sister needs you. Luke, Leia needs you. And that might be all it takes for Luke to go, all right, let's go.
You think if she says Han's dead, he'll be like, yeah, I know, I felt it, or?
Yeah. Yeah, he'll know. I'm sure he'll know.
I'm sure he knows. If Leia felt it, I'm sure Luke felt it. Yeah.
Yeah. The other possible way, like the way you're kind of pointing here, Kyle, is basically you're pointing to the fact that, I've lost everything. I lost the temple. I lost everyone that, that I not necessarily cared for, but was teaching. Like I'm not a good teacher. So it greatly affected him in that sense. And hopefully that's not
why
the
I
case.
think that Barash vow is still on the table. I think because he had his, what if the word decimated gives us more context into Luke's academy being trashed?
Yeah, decimated by the loss of his academy.
Or when his academy was decimated.
That could be another area where that word gets worked in. Unexpected too.
But the one thing I disagree with you and keep coming back to that is the fact that he's on Act 2. Like, why take the Barash vow on Act 2? Like, he's obviously on Act 2 to rid the galaxy of evil. Like, he's trying to do the right thing and going there. Like, he's not just going there to meditate and die. Like, he
maybe
knows.
Maybe he just wants to hang out with the old Jedi texts and just be left alone. He wants to go retire and read a few books written by the old Jedi masters of old.
Yeah, I don't see it going down like that. Like, he's there for a reason, man, in my opinion.
He could do both, no?
Yeah, but what's the point of going there to learn the secret of whatever, destroying evil and not being able to use it, having taken this vow? Like, it seemed pretty quintessential that he get there anyhow, in his mind, after everything that happens, that he get to this planet because there's something there that he obviously needs to find out or know or
get his hands on.
Yeah.
Or protect.
That too.
I mean, or
porgs.
Old. I think some of the original drafts or reports on The Force Awakens had Luke guarding something on Act 2. Like it was an old Sith temple or an old tomb or something like that, and he was going to guard it there until he died.
That's interesting.
But I mean, that could have been scrapped.
That book too. That book is like the Bible of Jedidom. To me, anyhow. That's exactly what it looks like. And it's Luke's hand caressing it too. Again, that might not make it into the movie, but...
Yeah, it might not. But yeah. No.
Hey, it reminds me very similar of the way he caressed R2's head kind of in the trailer for The Force Awakens,
What are you saying?
That it's not going to be in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, we can retcon some of our... Who asked us last week? What? I think it was Bradley, right? Who asked us what will get cut? There's another clear candidate. That's a good call for a shot that would not make it into the final cut. Mm-hmm. All right. Last thing before we get into the binary sunset portion of the show. Ron Howard. He's having a blast on the set of the Han Solo flick. Anyway, before we get there, anything left to say with Daisy Ridley's comments?
I just like the fact that you said a blast with the Han Solo because he uses a blaster. So that's lead in.
I did it again.
I'm good on that front. I think we cover the bases.
Hopefully. I'm sure someone will point out if we didn't. Anyway, so Ron Howard's been on set. They've been hard at work. And he's been sharing all kinds of stuff on Twitter. I think he tweeted out a picture of a Wookiee watching a monitor. But the one I wanted to talk about was the one with the screen. It looked like it was having the hyperspace starfield like wrapping around. Like, what a cool shot. Like, it's the type of thing that you wonder how they do this for the actors to make it at least a more immersive thing for the actors. Here's a really cool look at that.
And it was huge too. It's not like it's not even like a normal screen. It was just massive from the looks of it.
I think the return on investment in that is probably palpable too, though. Like you say, immersing the actors in something that feels real, something that you can touch and look at and
react to.
It's just got to be so much easier than complete
it makes
green
it
screen.
It makes it easier to be a good actor. You almost have to believe in what you're doing, you know. And yeah, that would definitely be conducive to that. Like I've seen shots of the prequels where people are always filming on green screen, like that scene in Attack of the Clones where they're surrounded. Imagine that in green screen. It's just guys waving around swords in a circle. Like, it looks really
Star Wars
odd.
kid.
Star Wars kid. Also a Quebecer. Shh. Yeah, well, they did something similar to this for Rogue One to make the dogfights more real, so that the actors in the cockpits could have more genuine reactions to things. It almost looks like a big giant video game to them. But this is cool. But the real nugget is if you zoom in the center of the screen is some little famous somebody we might know.
Yep.
Did you guys take a real good look at that picture?
It's Lando in the cockpit.
Yeah, man.
The Falcon. And you could even see that Han's in the back of him. Someone like magnified it like crazy. It looks anyhow like Han's not even in the pilot seat, like in the passenger chair. Very possible.
And you know what? We see obviously that's clearly Lando. But I think fandom as a whole kind of tends to overlook Lando's role in the ownership of the Falcon. Like at this point, this is probably Lando's ship. And I think
100%.
We often forget that.
Dude, like Han's not even riding shotgun.
No, he's just tagging along. But this came up. So could we see the Battle of Tanab in this movie?
Could. Of course we could.
Okay. Yeah. Will we see the Battle of Tanab? And that little maneuver that Calrissian pulled off at the Battle of Tanab that I guess made him somewhat famous. Is that going to be in this movie?
If it is, I guess so is the 12 parsecs. I'll say they're either both in or neither's in. They're either going to show us that stuff that made them legends or they're not.
So I figure Battle of Tanab has to be in this time frame, because Han and Lando didn't talk between Empire and from up until Empire, Han and Lando had lost contact. And I get unless Han learned about that battle, through other means, then when Lando tells him, someone must have told him about my little maneuver at the Battle of Tanab in Jedi. Like that had to have happened. It sounds like they're sharing common knowledge, which would only be something that they did together at some point in the past. So I wonder if maybe this is it.
Yeah, it's possible. There's so much in the... a lot of stuff is available to the writers of this movie. There's so many storylines they can do with this. And I really hope they get all this into this movie. Like, all of it. The Kessel Run, Jabba, the beef with Boba, everything, man.
Well, that's the next thought that came to my mind. Putting in all this stuff, like you've got to be careful not to make it too much fan service.
No, but you could do it with the right script. You just can't, you can't invest too much time on everything, but it can definitely leave the breadcrumbs for the trail to, the beefs that he has across the galaxy, kind of. And it's definitely going to be that. He's got to be like, everybody's got to have a beef with Solo. That's the way he dies. Like, at the end of the Force Awakens, like, meeting the Kanji Club, like, you just see it. Like, he's just expended himself throughout the entire galaxy.
Well, this movie probably has the fracture between Han and Lando's relationship.
Oh, 100%. That's how he gets the Falcon. Like, I'm sure Lando's tries, obviously, to come out on top of whatever they're dealing with, whatever situation they're in. Like, Lando's obviously...
Wasn't it a card game?
I don't know if that's Legends or...
Han says, you lost her to me fair and square. I mean, that doesn't mean card game. It could have been a race. It could have been a number of things, but you lost her to me suggests they had some sort of game
either way,
competition.
Even my point is, like, picture this. Even if it was cards, like, Han's going to have, in the card game, you're going to see the true Han Solo in the sense that, like, basically, he's going to play an idiot's array, or he knows he has that hand, or he's going to play Lando, and Lando's not even going to know where it came from. Like, he's going to be proud of Han, almost in a sense, for taking his ship, but at the same time, like, he was trying to screw Han over in the long run. He was trying to come out on top, but Han's going to pull it off, like, with blood, sweat, and tears, man. Like, he's going to probably take a huge beating in this movie, but he'll have made his name.
Well, that's what they're promising. But I tend to think Han Solo kind of lucks his way into everything. Like, he falls ass backwards into all these situations. Like, he thinks he's in control. He's totally not. But in the end, he pulls it off. Like, I don't think he's got anything planned out ever.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say it's all luck. That's for sure. Like, he's definitely got skills, and
his skill is his charisma and his charm. That's his luck. Like, he's good at talking his way out of stuff occasionally.
He's one of the best pilots. Like, he's a great shot. I don't know. I see what you mean, but I see that more again at the beginning of the movie, him being a little more naive, being under the wing of Woody Harrelson's character. And then as the film grows, he gets jaded a bit in either love and or this relationship with Woody. Lando, like, he's just gonna, like, screw everybody in the long run because they all screwed him in a way, Like, he's gonna learn that to make it, like,
these are all smugglers and scoundrels and gamblers and, drug runners and gun runners and who knows what else these guys are doing. Like, these are not nice people.
I mean, he's not a stupid guy either, Han. Like, he is quite smart. Like, you see that. So I'd like to see him, like, after he's, like, just, picture a beaten, bloody, broken man just kind of, like, having the last laugh at, like, I played you all. It's like a grifter,
Nah, he's not going to get beaten and broken. I don't see that.
Oh, at one point in the movie, for sure, he's going to get his ass whooped. It has to be.
Nope.
Well, there was one behind the scenes shot where he looks pretty nicked up.
Yeah, but that could be from an explosion.
Yeah. It's not. Doesn't mean he got he got a knuckle sandwich from anybody.
Well, I'd say young Han Solo definitely has to do some fisticuffs.
Well, he's thrown a few
Not a fighter,
punches.
man. He's a lover.
He punched Lando right in the face in Empire. He got physical in Jedi, and he socked a few guys in the face from Kanji Club too.
He shot first.
I
with
guess
Vader.
Really though, because he's always standing beside Chewie, and if someone's going to punch somebody, it's going to be Chewie.
I really hope we see Chewie like really get unchained in this movie.
For sure. Now, I've said that before in the past too. Like, I don't know if him and Chewie are going to have the best relationship at first either. I could see it taking time for them to, like, do you think Han speaks Wookiee right off the bat?
It depends on if they use George Lucas's backstory for Han Solo, then yeah, because he was raised by Wookiees.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I never knew that.
It's in the Revenge of the Sith art book.
And we've talked about it on the show before.
Yeah, that too.
Well, I must have been hammed.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. 'Cause, no, most bits I remember, but I definitely don't remember ever hearing that, actually.
Yeah, he was orphaned and then, raised from a young age on Kashyyyk by Wookiees. He was going to be in Revenge of the Sith at one point. That's why there's concept art for him in that movie. But if they stick to that backstory, which I imagine they will, they don't tend to overwrite a lot of old George Lucas notes. Like,
doesn't that make him more like Tarzan, though?
No. I mean, Wookiees are
Space Tarzan.
Wookiees are perfectly civilized. They're just very hairy.
Yeah, well, their culture is definitely a lot different than the way I regard Han, anyway.
I wouldn't say a culture known for ripping people's arms off is very civilized.
Hey, well, what does that make us? We've done far worse things to people.
Oh yeah, if there are aliens out there looking at us, they'd be so goddamn confused. It's incredible how confused they'd be. Like, what are these guys doing?
You also have to wonder how long Han was actually there. Because if the Wookiees were taken over after Battle of Kashyyyk, you can imagine Han would have been snapped up by the Empire at that point and thrown into the Imperial Academy while the rest of the Wookiees were enslaved.
That's possible. Hopefully, I don't know if I like that too much. Hopefully they retcon that.
We'll see. We're definitely going to find out more on that front. But yeah, man, I'm totally digging the way Ron Howard is giving us peeks behind the scenes. It just makes me feel really confident in him getting his hands on this movie. Like it's really easy to be nervous about this, but him freely sharing like this it makes me feel better.
So I wanted to ask you guys something about this. Like, me too, I feel the exact same way, Kyle. Like, we hadn't really seen any of this prior, and my question is kind of, why is that? Now, when someone puts a tweet out of hyperspace, Lando in the camera screen, like the shot of Chewie, I would have to think that they get the go-ahead from Lucasfilm and or Disney. I'm going to say the word Disney. Like, he's just been free. At this point, they probably given him a bit of green light. Like, okay, show us what you want to show. Okay, yeah, do it. Like, let's start promoting the film that way, because Lord and Miller, I really, off the top of my head, I can't remember anything.
No, they did share a few things. Oh, I think they did.
Also, Disney.
I think for that charity, the Omaze thing, I think they had a bit for that, and they kind of moved the camera over to show one of the aliens that would be in the movie.
But just this Twitter, we'll say, like, Twitter seems to be the social media platform for things of this nature in a way. Like, I didn't see anything from Lord and Miller other than something along the lines of, like, why cooperate or whatever it was.
Well, they did something
I
on day one.
wouldn't be surprised at all if Lucasfilm hired a firm to help them smooth this over, like a PR firm or whatever, and sort of like, because like Kyle said, he feels warm and fuzzy about it. That's got to be a bit on purpose. It may not just be Ron Howard tweeting out whatever he wants.
Yeah,
I think someone's looking over his stuff.
It could be, and it could be a strategic move saying, let's just play nice here, and give the fans a reason to feel better about this. So feed them, make them feel fun, or make them feel better about this, and this helps. All right, so that's it for the news this week. We'll have there's more stuff to discuss next week, and I'm sure new things will pop up in the interim. But for now, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back and do the binary sunset portion of the show, kicking it off with Ads Edition.
Evening, boys. Hope you're all good. Hope everyone's had good weeks. I'm currently on holiday and I'm off camping, Corey's favourite pastime. And I will be a little disappointed if I am not currently sat, beer in hand, in front of a campfire, listening to you fine fellows talk Star Wars. So with that in mind, to kick off the binary sunset, I'd like the three of you to come up with some Star Wars limericks. For example, there were 3 sabers from Montreal who all really love Star Wars as a rule. Chopper and Chewbacca, Rey, what a cracker, not forgetting Vader, Luke Skywalker and Maul. Now no pressure, James, but with your rapping prowess I'm expecting great things. Right, I'm off to get some more firewood. Take care. Bye.
And there goes Ads. Sir, I hope you are enjoying camping. Is Ads still going to be camping by the time he hears this? Have you guys spoken to him at all?
I have not, but I hope he is, because podcasts and camping are awesome.
Podcasting or listening to a podcast?
Listening to a podcast by the campfire is very gratifying.
Oh, on that front, have you looked at all into our camping trip for late August?
No.
No.
But we're going. Don't worry.
We're not going, James.
I know.
Trust me, we're going.
No, honestly, if we're not booked at a place, I'm not just going to be like, we'll just show up and hope.
I'll book a place, don't you worry.
Should I worry, James?
Yeah, you should worry.
I probably should worry.
James is coming, so don't worry.
Wait, no. I don't understand. You're booking it.
I understand.
It sounds like the more people you try to rope in, like somehow you'll be able to like wiggle out of it.
No,
I know your
worry.
game.
Getting campground space is not hard, bro. Like I've gone camping every year for the past like 20 years.
All right. I still don't think I'll be camping that weekend.
We are. Trust me, the kids are gonna love it.
All right, so let's get into this. So quick story. I got this. Ad sent this in on Friday, the 21st, I think, to us, and I listened to it, and I go, "Oh no!" Like I was doing quick math in my head because I was at my parents' when I heard it, and that was a Friday night. Then Saturday we spent the night, stayed there for half the day on Saturday, then moved off to a party on my wife's side of the family for the rest of the day. Got home super late, and then today my in-laws had slept over, so we had them for a good portion of the day, and then of course there's stuff that needs to get done at home. I had to cut the grass, vacuum the pool, all that stuff. I'm like, when am I going to do this? Like I don't even know. Like I knew vaguely the rules of a limerick, but I didn't know them off the top of my head, so I had to like look them up and go, oh God, all right. So I had some help from my wife, so we bounced a few off each other. But anyway, I've got a few. Who wants to kick it off?
Seeing as you
I guess I
like,
should go first, right?
I would go for it.
But it was pretty. Like I don't know if you guys have ever practiced this before. Like I've never written one. Maybe in grade school, if this was ever a thing that they taught. But it was tough to keep like the syllables in the air and the rhyming, the beats and the humor. Like you had to keep all those balls in the air. So the first one I did, it works, but then I realized it's not funny at all. Like it's just a straight up boring thing. So I'm not even going to read that one. I'm scratching it off my list. I don't even know why I have it here. So now I'm down to 4. So here we go. On the Jedi Council sat Shack T. After training, she wanted some tea. She put on the kettle, but sadly had to settle for a cup of Yoda's green pea.
Ouch.
Come on.
Nice. I would change your second to last line to, but sadly she settled. I think beat-wise, it's better.
Yeah, that still gives me enough syllables, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. There you go.
Very good. Very good. Good start off, boss.
Suivant next.
I'd say go for another one, man. I think James and I only have one, really. So
No, I have two now. I wrote one since I said I only had one. I just wrote it like that, Corey.
wow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say that I guess I had a lot harder time with this. Like, I only
read
caught
a
the
lot
question.
of rhymes, dude.
I know, that's it. Like this is right up your alley, James. Like I would have thought you had like so many of them already lined up to go. Like I don't know. I heard it last night at probably around 12:30 at night. I was sitting by the fire, so yeah, like I definitely wasn't starting then, and super busy day. So I got back and I was thinking about it, and same thing as Kyle. I had to look exactly the rules because you guys are sticklers for rules. So anyway, yeah.
All right, you know what? I got one ready to go. This is the one I just wrote. There once were 3 Star Wars podcasters who loved to talk sabers and blasters. The Force they preserve, the Sith they disturb, though most of their shows are disasters.
Dude, that's perfect. I love it.
See, not so hard, Corey, if you just put in some time, right?
That's about us. I just wrote that now.
That's amazing. That's really, really good. I like that. But you too, Kyle. You kind of loopholed it. Like, dude, if I would have come up with that to my wife and said like, "Hey, let's bounce this off each other," she'd be like, yeah, get a life."
Let's bounce something else off each other.
No, by that point, that's when she's walking away.
Well, hit us with what you got, buddy.
All right. Here we go. All right. There was a droid known as C110P. He gave me my name with a Z. Chopper was always crass. Bite his shiny metal ass. The legend known as Spectre 3.
All the parts are there, dude. We
It
could have
just-
fine
it
tuned that
doesn't
together.
flow,
You should have
eh?
bounced it
That's
off
it.
me. I could have sharpened it up for you just in beats, but it's good, man.
Yeah, it had some good stuff there. It had the Bender reference, the Z reference.
Yeah. It's good.
I had a hard time
Chopper
with
is
it.
crass. Said, "Bite my metal ass." Yeah, we could have. There's a lot of good stuff there, man. You did a good job. You're too hard on yourself.
Thanks, bro. There's just no flow.
All right, I've got
Kyle, I
I've
think
got
you're
another
up.
one. There once was
Hit us
a
with 2 in a row,
Togruta-
back to back
What's
us.
that?
I said, hit us with 2 in a row, back to back
Back
us.
to back. Okay. There once was a Togruta named Ahsoka. She'd never use the Force to choke ya. She's good in a fight
Ooh, nice.
with white sabers of light, but sometimes she'll use them to poke ya.
I like it.
I like it too. Again, though, I'm going to change your second to last line. With lightsabers of white, I think is cooler.
Sure. I'm easy.
Dude, those are good, man. Hit us up with another one.
There once was a smuggler named Lando. He was a scoundrel, not some rando. With Han by his side, the Falcon as their ride, their bromance name became Hondo.
Nice.
I like it. That's true. You should hashtag Hondo.
Yeah, that's the one that Candace and I put together.
I like
That's
that.
a good one, man.
That was your best one.
Yeah, that was probably. I have one more somewhat similar. I'll save that one for last because it's not quite finished. James, you might have to tune it up.
I got one more that I wrote. Okay, Corey, you go first.
Well, I'm
Switch
not
up
gonna.
the order.
It's not me. I'm gonna read one from the internet that I thought was pretty funny today. Okay, here it goes. There once was a flutist named Droopy who gambled his last whoopie on whether he'd fool a young Twi'lek. Whether he'd fool a young Twi'lek named Ula to follow him round as a groupie.
Yeah, I wish I'd written that.
That's a pretty good one.
All right. Last one I got is there once was a loan shark. I think you guys saw this earlier. But there once was a loan shark and bookie who was after a smuggler and Wookiee. He liked his martinis and golden bikinis, but his slave brought him death and not nookie.
I saw that image on Twitter before. That was yours, eh?
Yeah, I memed that up and posted that.
That's pretty strong. That is pretty strong.
Spoiler alert.
All right, I've got.
Well, hey, only the VIPs saw that before, Corey. Just you guys and maybe Connor was tagged in that, and Ads was obviously.
It was strong, and Keegan's was strong too.
Oh, Keegan's is awesome. We'll read. I've got it here, but we'll read that after. Yeah.
All right, my last one, similar to the one I had just read about Lando and Han. There once was a card player named called Lando. He was a gambler, not just a sleemo. Then Han joined the fray, and with an idiot's array, the Falcon's keys were repo. And like I said, that one is not finished. I couldn't quite fine-tune it.
Yeah, Sleemo doesn't go with Lando, I don't think.
No, but you could have compared his smoothness or his charm or acting to Brando.
I like that.
That's where I would have tried to go with Lando.
Childish Gambino.
That could have worked.
You could try to get there. You need to be named Eminem, I think, to pronounce that and make it sound like a rhyme, though.
Okay. See, I like the concept of that one the most, I think. Like working in Idiot's Array and Han taking the keys. Like it works in the whole canon story.
Yeah, I like it.
It does.
Idiot's Array in the fray. Yeah, I
read the first two lines again.
There once was a card player called Lando. He was a gambler, not just a sleemo. Lando, sleemo? I don't know.
Yeah, no. You can. Once was.
He was a gambler who won every hand, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. It makes the story sound much better. He was a gambler. So
won
what was
every
it,
hand, though. It could be hand yo or hand though. I don't remember what your next line is, so I'm not sure where to go from there.
Okay, so there once
won
was a
all
card
the
player
hands though
called Lando. He was a gambler. He won every hand, yo. Then Han joined the fray, and with an idiot's array, the Falcon's keys were repo. Boom.
The keys to the Falcon were repoed.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's your best one.
Yeah, I couldn't fine tune it.
That's our best one. Way to go, team.
Except you, Corey.
Yeah.
There once was a saver named Corey. Sadly, the same old story. Too many beers on tap instead of. Oh, God damn it!
A roadmap.
I can't run a podcast and do limericks at the same time. I'm sorry.
That is a lot.
Yeah,
it's been a while, but yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. Maybe I made it a little more daunting than it was, but I wanted to get something in there original. I had some original material in my thing there. It's just, I don't know, there was just no flow.
You know what it is, Corey? You sort of followed the rules. Well, you did follow the rules specifically, but when it says 7 to 10, you choose if you want it to sound, because you were complaining off air that you didn't like the way they sounded beat wise. So if you choose to go 8 in the first one, then you 8 again. It's not 7 to 10 and then different in the second one, 7 or 10.
I should have listened to a few more. I should have listened to some audios on it,
Well, it's just go to, there's always that, there once was a man from Nantucket. That's the classic limerick.
Yeah, so true.
Anyway, there you go. That actually ended. I was afraid at first because I was like, "Damn it, I'm not gonna have time to do this." But we squeezed in a little bit, half hour, 20 minutes of jamming these things out, and this turned out to be a lot of fun.
That was good. Thanks, Ads.
Way to go, Ads.
Is someone gonna read Keegan's? You got it there. I closed up my thing, but I can reopen it. Corey, do you have it? About his favorite droid?
I can find it. Give me a sec.
I think it's fun that mine's reopening finally. My internet.
I got it.
Friggin' amazing lately.
The Prismic Trapezoid Gonk looks like a box full of plonk. Looks like a full box of plonk. If you fuck with this droid, death will be deployed. But if you're horny, please honk.
That's so good.
Awesome.
See, I think one of my downfalls in doing this is that I tried too hard to keep everything in universe.
Yeah, so you got to for the humor part, you're definitely allowed to come out and just sort of say whatever you want. That's funny.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that at all. I tried to confine everything to Star Wars. Anyway, that was fun.
I think we did pretty well.
All right. Thank you, ads. I hope if you're still out there camping, way to go. And if you're back safe and sound at home, I hope you enjoyed your trip. And now we'll move into Bradley banter with our favorite Texan, the one and only Bradley. And this week, Bradley writes, "Hello, Kyle, Corey, and James. I hope each of you have had a wonderful week." I did. Can you believe it? We are only 144 days away from The Last Jedi. Time flies when you're having fun, and boy, are we having fun. The dog days of summer are upon us, and boy, are they hot. But not as hot as this sizzle reel we got last week at D23. Holy cow. From the looks of it, this movie is going to be awesome. Let's hope it doesn't let us down. Star Wars, old buddy, don't let me down. Who's down for some Star Wars questions? Me.
Me
too. I'm on board.
Perfect. So besides Luke and Rey, what character are you most intrigued about? I would have to say Kylo Ren. After seeing him in the sizzle reel fighting off two individuals, I'm left with whom he could be fighting. Is this part of his training? Or has he been betrayed by his own? Or are the individuals fighting him protecting someone or something? I want to know! I'm also hoping we get some kind of Luke and Kylo reunion. I would love to hear what those two have to say to one another after all that has transpired. So let's start there. He's got a second question, but we'll start with that one. James, who do you most want to know about in The Last Jedi?
I'm gonna flip it around and answer his last question first. The last part of that first. When he says he wants to see Luke and Kylo reunion, I just want to say that the like combination name for that, like Benifer name for that, is either Kook or Lilo, both of which hilarious.
Both are pretty funny.
Who am I most intrigued about? Well, he did have to say except Rey, because that's who I am most intrigued about, and not because I do have a crush on her and she's absolutely stunning and super fun to watch on screen, but I am super intrigued to find out what her backstory is, and I think it's going to be a big deal in terms of who everybody else is and why they're doing what they're doing. Like, I think her backstory is not unrelated to Snoke's, or Snoke's plan at least, and some sort of tie into what Luke's doing as well with the Force origin stuff. So I'm super intrigued to find out about her. But since that's not allowed to be my answer, I'm going to agree with Bradley like we usually do and say it's got to be Kylo. Everything about that guy's interesting. Adam Driver, the actor who plays him, is super interesting, and I mean, the guy just stabbed his own dad. Let's see how he deals with that.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I don't know if there's any wrong or bad answers in this. Kylo's as good an answer as there is. I mean, you could put him in there with Rey and Luke as the two people, or expand it to three people that you most want to know about. His character it could go anywhere with Kylo. Anywhere. So, Corey, what do you got?
Well, I really like how he gave us that, non-loophole option with the Rey and Luke. No Rey and Luke, that's amazing. So I'll just rattle off a few I want to hear about, like, in other ways, like Maz Kanata, Lor Santeca. It's pretty high up there on my short list.
Nobody said Snoke yet.
No, listen, man, like Poe, Finn, Rose, they're great characters and all that, but, I don't know, like, I'm stoked about them. I don't want to get down on them or whatever, but it's not on that level, so Phasma's pretty huge right now. Like, I think she's going to have a much bigger role in this movie. There was not much on the table for her in The Force Awakens. So, I'm curious to see what they're going to do with her, and once she kind of, the unmasking, love a good unmasking. But the top two are really Kylo and Snoke. Now, granted, Leia didn't have a great role in The Force Awakens too, so I think we were all really looking forward to that as well. And now, with everything that's involved, I think that's the character we're most looking forward to, or just trying to enjoy as best we can what we have left. But the final two are Kylo and Snoke for me, mystery-wise, in regards to the story. Like, Kylo's a great choice. Like, how he turned, why he turned, we still aren't 100% sure. Snoke's involvement in that and who Snoke is really, really interesting to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kylo was on my list too, but just to move away from that, I'm going to say I want to learn more about Poe. And I also had Phasma and Leia on my list, but you mentioned them, and the reasons are exactly right. But I want to see more from Poe. He's a captain.
Poe's
now.
got his own comic.
Yeah, like I don't want to go to the comic for everything. You know what I mean? Like
you don't have to go to it for everything. Just do yourself a favor, buy it, and put it in a pile and never read.
Yeah, they get about 6 feet tall.
Yeah, no. If I ever have a pile of comics unread taller than me, I'm either very wealthy or like I'm dead and nobody has informed my comic pull.
Well, maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch.
If it's 3 feet tall and you haven't read it, that's still way too much, dude. You gotta do something about that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I mean, you seem to like campfires, so I'm just saying.
Well, I was telling you guys the other day, I much prefer, like, I want to own the material aspect of it, but I love reading comics and I have been doing that actually quite a bit, like reading comics online. There's just something about that really makes the experience interactive almost.
Agreed. I've checked out a couple online or digital reads. They're pretty cool. But I still prefer to have the paper book in my hand. Anyway, so with Poe, I think he's taken a step up in rank. I don't know what was his rank in TFA? Was he a commander? I'm not sure. But anyway, he's going to be a captain in The Last Jedi and reportedly going to ruffle feathers among some of the power-ups, the higher-ups at the Resistance, which is interesting. You know, there was a quote from Carrie Fisher, Oscar Isaac said that Carrie Fisher had slapped him 27 times while they were trying to get a scene filmed. So he sounds like, you know, if that scene stays in the movie, like he's going to really piss her off. So I find that really interesting. What could he do that makes Leia so angry enough to smack him?
Talk about Han.
Oof.
Or Kylo.
I mean, that's pushing a button. Like you never really see
or
Leia
Vader
lash out like that, except for at Han.
Yeah, but at the same time, if he's saying like, "Look, we have to go after this guy," and she's like, "But I want to talk to him first." He's like, "Well, I'm sorry, but you know, as much as he's your son, he's our enemy," or you know, something to that effect. Smack.
Or yeah, Leia wants to do her plan, and he says something to the effect of, well, "How did that help Han?" Boom! Right,
smack,
right in the chops.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that whole aspect makes me super interested to see what Poe's got next. And he's in that weird looking ski speeder thingy. He's gonna be. It sounds like he's gonna have a much more expanded role. And
he should.
He should.
He's a huge part of the Resistance. He's got his own comic.
It's true. I wonder if he gets.
Go
ahead.
I wanted to ask you guys something quick, kind of related to this. I was thinking about this for some reason this week, probably by the fire. But Poe's on the lookout for Luke, or clues as to where Luke is. He finally finds Lor San Tekka. Granted, it seems like it's the wills of the Force to find Rey, and it's all wrapped into one. Who goes to find Luke? It's Rey. Now, that wasn't pre-planned. Who was originally supposed to speak with Luke? I would think it's Leia, I guess. Seems the obvious answer, but...
Well, I think there's Leia something in the novel or screenplay about that, where Leia was originally going to go to Act 2. But then at some point... I don't know if Rey initiates it or if it's Leia who initiates it, but Rey ends up going in it, and one of them says it has to be this way. And they come to an understanding about it.
It's interesting.
I'm also going to shove in my boy Chewie. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with this character. Like, he's always been attached to Han as his sidekick, but now he seems like he's a bit of a, I don't know, almost like what are those lonely little samurais called? Ronin?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's masterless.
So he's kind of masterless, right? So unless he becomes Rey's sidekick or Finn's sidekick at some point, like, or maybe they don't. Maybe he just becomes his own character, which means they have to give Chewie his own sort of character arc, and that's exciting and terrifying. So
That's true too.
Yeah, no, it's, I don't know.
Even R2 as well. Like, think about it. R2 was dormant for all of TFA. Like, hopefully, maybe R2 wakes up and he's jaded like Chopper.
Well, he woke up at the end, right?
No.
He woke up at the end, that's it, but who knows? You know, are we just, like, that's what I'm saying. James says no right away. Like, are we to assume that R2 is going to just fall right back into form and just be that good old R2 we know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that's presumptuous, but I can't say I'm not leaning that way either.
It's not presumptuous, really. He's a yes, he's got a personality and a character, but he's still a droid. Like, he's a machine with a program, and like, as
but
much
he's
as he has
more
free
than
will
that. R2's
at that
obviously,
point,
the free will part overrides.
Yeah, I got that, but like, I don't think the shutdown is like going to affect him the same way as, like, you know, being in a coma would affect a person.
So
That's
you
what I
say
mean.
you're saying he's just going to be as brave as always, and
Yeah. They're not going to change that about R2 after 7 movies. No way. There are some, like, R2, Chewbacca, C-3PO, those, that, I'm not going to say they're B-level characters, but they're not the prime players. And I think those...
You know what? They're sidekicks. Through and through. Absolutely they are.
they're the storytellers.
I mean, they're supporting characters to a degree, but the thing is that they're always super consistent. And I think Star Wars kind of needs that underpinning of consistency, and you get it from those type of guys. Because if you want to have big turns and reveals and left turns, you get that from, like, the A team. Like, nobody cares if
True.
C-3PO suddenly starts, poisoning people's drinks. Hey, you'd care, but you go, what? That's kind of strange. Like, that kind of thing would come from, like, the big players.
I hope they don't change the like you're talking about, what feels like the dependableness of some of those characters. But the reason I say that they're sidekicks is if they become their own characters, both Chewie and R2 would need to be subtitled. The reason they've never been subtitled is because they're sidekicks, and their other always translates for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, thanks, Chewbacca, or whatever.
Yeah. How could you say that, R2?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, imagine R2 and Chewbacca having a conversation. That'd be awesome, subtitled.
All right, so Bradley's second question. We've gone around the table on the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Yes, sir.
thinking about it, like, just mulling it over with you guys as well, like, R2 is up on my list as well now.
I mean, there's nobody we don't want to know about, right?
Agreed. Some are more interesting than others, obviously, but
Yeah, no, definitely. So my second question comes from the first. Do you think we will get that scene where Luke and Kylo have lengthy dialogue with one another? Or do you think this is something we won't see until episode 9? In a sense, not revealing everything in this movie and holding a few surprises for the next movie. I personally don't think we will get Luke and Kylo meeting that I'm hoping for, but I'm okay with that as long as it pays off in the end, meaning some kind of epic reunion between the two of them. Thanks, guys, for reading my Star Wars questions and looking forward to your analysis. Like always, hope you have a great week. Keep up the good work, and may the Force be with you always. Cheers, Bradley Hall. Bradley, sir, thank you. At Bradley W. Hall. Give him a follow. Connect with Bradley. All right, Corey. Do you think we're going to get Luke and Kylo trash talking each other, or hashing it out as uncle and nephew? What do you think?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think what Bradley was saying was, I'm kind of hoping for it in a way too, but Bradley said it right and correctly in the sense that it has to pay off for the story in the long run. We got so much going on with Kylo and Leia, and I think we've pretty much been confirmed that there's something between those two. We also know Rey. Well, we don't know anything really, but it looks like it's going to be Rey versus Kylo and Luke versus the Knights of Ren at one point. So I don't know. I don't see it happening, to be honest, in this film. Maybe a brief standoff from a distance toward the end. But I think this is something that we get saved for 9.
No, and there's got to be some sort of meeting between them in the sense, like Vader told Luke about his heritage in Empire. Maybe this is the good guy telling the bad guy something he didn't know or doesn't want to hear. But there's got to be some sort of exchange between those two main characters. There has to be, and it's significant. Not.
Well, I see that storyline taking place more between Rey and Kylo. Like whatever
That's
Luke
definitely going to happen too. But
whatever Luke passes on to Rey, she's going to go and confront Kylo, and they're going to go at it. And yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like if there is a fight on Act 2 with the Knights of Ren and Kylo, Luke dispatches the Knights of Ren. And she's going at it with Kylo. Kylo gets the upper hand. Something happens to Rey, and Luke's trying to get there, and Kylo's just like, yeah, I'm out of here. Like, he's not going to go against Uncle Luke. Not just yet. He knows.
I agree with you that that's definitely going to happen early in the movie. I think we agree on that. I just think, the characters that have the most history, so that making the confrontation most interesting, is Luke and Kylo. Well, Rey and Kylo's history is short. It's new. So we'll get a little more backstory. We'll get a little more, the long looks that Luke and Kylo can give each other certainly mean more because, well, they know each other
I wouldn't say that
better.
necessarily between Kylo and Rey either. Like, Kylo's obviously had like visions of this girl. Like, he knows of this girl that's out there.
True.
Like she pretty
Seems
much
that way.
slashed them across his face. You guys saw it right across his nose. But
Not this again.
either way, I'm just I had to say.
But even with all that, the most compelling stares were definitely between father and son in that movie on the bridge right before the stabby. So all I'm saying is, that the storytelling standpoint,
right.
It makes most sense.
Their
to have
family.
the family,
Yeah.
So I think
confrontation. It will happen.
I guess
I've
it comes
said
down
this
to like who is Kylo really after, and it's easy to say he's after both of them, but is Rey target number 1 for him at this point, or is cutting off the head of the snake, i.e. Luke, is that his goal? And how does Luke see Kylo? Is he dead to him, or does he see it sort of like he saw his dad, where no, there's still good in him. I'm not going to shut him out. I think when you get the answers to those questions, I think you can answer Bradley's question a lot more confidently. I'm going to just go ahead and say that Kylo will probably smack talk Luke a little bit. Like he'll swagger himself in there and say something to the effect that, like, why do you think you can train her? You couldn't deal with me, or something like that. Or look what happened the last time you tried to train Jedi. Something to that effect. Really trying to get under Luke's skin. But I don't think they're going to have any type of long, drawn-out conversation.
Well, this wouldn't surprise me either, because, now thinking about it, like, I know I've said this before in the past, for the Empire-esque ending, for me, no one's beyond redemption, really, after everything that Anakin did. So, like, I've said before, I don't know if you guys remember, like, remember Luke on Bespin, Cloud City, where he's like hanging from that like little dish after he just went at it with Vader. Like, picture Kylo in this movie at that moment. And like he's the one that's like, I need help, you know, like he's been betrayed on all fronts. Like Snoke has Rey at this point, kind of is where I'm getting at. And like he's been betrayed, he's been dumped out, and Luke goes back for Kylo at that point, for Ben. And you know, he kind of takes him in, you know, he's probably all messed up at this point. And then Rey is with Snoke leaving, and that's where we're left in this film. Like, and who knows, like maybe even like Rey would be like a double agent, kind of like, I have to go with this guy to get to the bottom of everything, and I can handle it because I'm that strong of a person, kind of like that would be her mentality. I would see it right away. Like she would go with him because she's like, I can handle this. I can delve into the darkness a bit, you know, like I know I'll come back.
Can't shoot that down. We just don't know. James, anything else?
It's not bad the way.
No, I agree. A bit two-pronged tangent there, Corey. But like Corey said, like Kyle said, we can't shoot it down. I like the sound of that story. I'd watch that movie that you're talking about. If it's going to end with her potentially flipping and double agenting or not, I don't know. But that's certainly one like popular belief. I don't see it for some reason. For some reason, I don't think she's going to go dark. She'll be like tempted. I see her being tempted by the dark side, but I don't see her.
Well, that's the big punch, right? In this movie, like that would be the big punch. Like either Luke or Rey somehow, I won't necessarily say crossing to the dark side, but going willingly or something with a bad guy at the end of this film.
Well, everybody just like flirts with the dark side. Luke flirted with it and may have even used it at the end of Jedi. I don't know if we ever saw really Obi-Wan use it, though you could argue at in killing or halving Maul that he tapped into the dark side a little bit. And then like the entire story of Anakin is all about him in his constant dance with the dark side. So yeah, Rey's definitely going to feel it in this movie and probably be tempted by it. We remember that look on her face after she kicked Kylo to the ground? Like she's kind of just prowling and stalking him there. And
oh yeah, she was about to kill him. Had the ground not separated.
I mean, look at the look on her face. Tell me that's not somebody who's feeling a little dark side right there.
Oh, dude, the light.
I don't know. It could have been gray side for all I know.
No, she was definitely dabbling there. There was she had the look of death in her eye there.
Yeah, and I think again in the novel she hears the voice, and I think maybe even Palpatine's voice saying, "Kill him."
Get him.
That's really interesting.
I don't want to.
How is he still a factor?
Well,
in
I don't
this,
want to say
you know?
for sure that was Palpatine's voice. It could have been.
Could be Snoke too. It's more likely Snoke at this point, I would think, because he's living in Jedi. Like Sith can't Force ghost.
Is he living? Maybe that is a Jedi Sith Force ghost.
Oh man, I don't even think we have time for that one.
I want to throw this out there too. This got me on a bit of a tangent too. This whole question, but think of it. You know, when we all think that there's going to be this battle on Act 2 with the Knights of Ren and Kylo. So imagine this fight goes down, and you know the Knights of Ren are kind of dispatched, and Luke's coming to the aid of Rey against Kylo, and Kylo bails, but he has kind of the last laugh with Rey. So whatever happens to Rey, like say, I don't know, like she falls or she's hanging from a cliff or whatever it is, Kylo inadvertently helps them, or whatever situation Kylo leaves her in, inadvertently helps them to discover the secret they've finally been looking to unlock.
And yeah, sure. Bad guys always end up being their own worst enemy.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be pretty cool.
Does Rian Johnson think it's pretty cool?
I think.
I don't know if that sounds clever enough. I think he's going to try to be very clever.
Oh yeah, that's kind of been one of the things I'm very afraid of.
I know I've heard you sing that song, and it's in my ear.
Yeah.
Well, I think those scenes of diving are going to be quite significant. Hopefully.
All right. I guess we have a smooth transition. Bradley, thank you. Those are two great questions as usual.
As has been the standard, and I don't know if I said thanks to ads, but thank you ads and thank you Bradley.
Yep, excellent stuff. And I guess we get a smooth transition here over to our pal in Ireland. Dave Donovan's got a couple questions for us, and he says
Double D.
He's double dipping and asking the great minds at Talk Star Wars and Tumbling Saber this one. So Daisy's comment in the behind the scenes reel saying we're all going to be shocked, and her earlier comments that she had to talk to Ryan about Rey is going in the script. What if it's an inverse of Empire and Rey actually goes to the dark side and ultimately kills Luke at the end? Is that the big shock? We'll never forgive Kylo for killing Han, but can Rey come back from killing Luke? Is this the big cliffhanger ending? Who wants to take this one?
Wow.
So I guess it's a two-parter question. We flip Empire around and Rey kills Luke. Let's start with that. Could that happen? Okay, yes, it could happen. Will that happen?
No.
No.
I'm a no too.
I like it. Like I like it in sort of theory. I mean, I would hate it, but I sort of like it in principle. But no, I don't think that can happen, and it would be worse than Kylo killing his dad.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's exactly why I say no, because you can't have. They couldn't do it. They couldn't have Kylo killing Han and Rey killing Luke. You can't have these younger players knocking off the legacy legends that way. Just you can't do that, can you?
No, I don't think you can.
But if Kylo had not have killed him, I think Rey killing Luke is a lot more likely.
I would be much more open to the idea absolutely, if Han hadn't been killed by Kylo. But at this point, and in the very next movie, whew.
Yeah, that's a bit heavy-handed, right?
Well, it'd definitely be a cliffhanger, that's for sure. And it would be shocking as well, that's for sure. Just like Daisy said, but yeah, like we
like, is there a way for them to do it?
Right?
Is there a way for?
I was just it's so funny, Kyle. You're in my head. I was just gonna say it depends how they do it. What if they do it like Obi-Wan style, where he's standing in front of Rey and she's flipping to the dark side, and he says like, "Do what you got to do," and he lays down his lightsaber, and just becomes a Force ghost, and the robes fall. Boom.
Yeah, he could be an active Force ghost. We've said that many times here before as well, that he could be an active Force ghost in 9, but we do for sure know that he's signed for 9. I kind of want to believe that it's in material form.
Yeah, I think so. But just...
But I also want to say that... sorry, Kyle, go
Well, no, I was just going to say, like, could they set it up in a way where Rey kills Luke knowingly, willingly, but not because she's going dark, but because she thinks Luke is a maniac? Or a detriment to
Nah, that can't be the way that Luke Skywalker's goes out. No way.
Yeah. that would be rough. That would earn Rian Johnson the goat horns for sure. Oof, man, would that be rough? No, yeah, I am a hard stop no for Rey killing Luke. Can't happen. No way.
Yeah, even if she turns on him, it's still like the lightsaber to our chests. So it's just as powerful, and you can still use the character in the next film. You don't have to kill him off in that regard. Plus, we know we just lost Han, and we kind of know we're losing Leia.
Yeah, well, again, like, let's just say for a second that ultimately this movie, or this saga ends, and Kylo's back on the light side, and Rey goes to the dark side, but she comes back to the light side. And they've both murdered our heroes. Like, we're going to be asked to accept both of those back and be happy about it. Like, I don't know. I don't think I could do it.
No, when you put it like that makes a lot of sense, to be honest. But again, to me, like, I don't think anyone is not redeemable. Like, Dave kind of said it there. Like I'm totally on board with Kylo's redemption if it happens. You know, I can see him dying for the cause or whatever. If he lives, he lives. But whatever it is, like he will turn back to the light. I mean, if Anakin can do it, he can do it. Because I look at Anakin and his whole turn, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm kind of just like, okay, good. Like, you know, when I'm watching him burn at the end, I'm just like, you deserved it.
He kind of did. He's not a good person.
He's not in that suit at that point. He's already dead.
No, but like at the end when he's just like, I hate you.
Oh.
Like I'm just like, well, bro, you kind of asked for it, man.
Well, bro.
I can't feel sorry. I can't feel all that sorry for you. You really fell into that one yourself.
He did fall into it and burned. Okay, Dave's got a second question. Have we all had a good enough kick at the can on that one?
I think we took a shot anyway.
All right, so here's a doozy. What age do you think you'll be when the, in brackets, inevitable reboot happens? I'm 41 and gonna say when I'm 60, maybe 65. It'll be after a long break. Excited to hear your thoughts. So who wants to be the first person to talk about the idea of rebooting Star Wars?
Nah.
Yeah, I'm going to say no reboot ever. I hope the answer is Infinity or Stardust. In the sense that I hope I'm long dead before they even have the idea to reboot this story.
Well, you know,
yeah,
it's really weird because the conversation of rebooting this franchise has been kind of been going around, and I don't know why. I don't see the source for the speculation, but it's not going away. Like, I don't know if people just have this idea that everything is eventually going to be rebooted, and so will Star Wars. But
it's exactly it. They're latching the story on Star Wars. Like, everything is getting rebooted, but yeah, this shit's sacred. So back off.
Nothing is sacred. The almighty dollar is sacred. That's it.
Well, I'll tell you, if it happens in my lifetime, I'll be quite upset. Like I said, I honestly hope I'm dead before it happens. And there's so much story. There's an entire galaxy of possibilities. If you have to go back and rehash a masterpiece, like, just no. Like, I'd rather just not. I don't know. I just don't even want to think about it. Like, come on. Like, there's an infinite amount of time, an infinite amount of story possibilities, new sagas, new everything. Like, leave the genesis of it all alone. Like, it's a masterpiece, man.
Like, I can imagine.
It would be cool to see it rebooted, though, in a way, right?
Well,
like
TFA is its reboot in a way, no?
And modern. It is. I was going to say that. Look, they're never going to reboot it. I agree, Corey. And TFA is. But in a way, isn't there a small part of you that thinks, like, it would be cool to see how you could make Star Wars today?
There's a small part of me.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It would be different. But, I mean, everything, the whole magic behind Star Wars is the way it was filmed, the way it was done, the fact
totally
that
agree.
It's older. And
no, I don't want it either.
You're totally right. But it's not like if they reboot it, they're going to come into your house and rip up your books, your comics, snap your DVDs in half and instruct you to never watch those again.
No, it would just give me a complete lack of confidence, and I'll say like a vote of no confidence in that company that's handling the franchise moving forward. Like, it's a complete lazy move. Like, it's a slap in the face to me. And
what's that chancellor's name? Valorum sounds like
Chancellor Valorum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vote of no confidence, like, big time. Like, I'd be.
Well, look, they're not going to do it while Lucas
buy
is alive.
tickets, go to the. I would exactly. They never do it when Lucas is alive. To answer the question, my answer is really, if they're ever going to do it, which I really hope they don't, it's the 75th anniversary, and I'll hopefully still be alive, and I'll probably go see it in theater, and I'll probably die in that theater. But if not, maybe the
Happy.
100th anniversary.
Like I'll go a small step further in saying as long as Kathleen Kennedy's in charge, there's no reboot happening. 'Cause I think Steele Saunders asked her if they were ever going to go back and tinker with the original trilogy anymore, and she literally laughed off the idea, saying, "No, are you kidding me? Like George Lucas is one of her mentors and friends. She's not touching those movies again." And so why, if she's not going to edit them any further, why the hell would she overwrite them? I don't think
that'd be interesting.
I don't see any way that a reboot of Star Wars happens anytime soon. Although there are a lot of people who see it happening. It boggles my mind. But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. So right now we're in the midst of like 7, 8, and 9, and maybe we also get 10, 11, 12. I happen to think we will. When does this reboot happen? And what kind of shelf life do you want, the new era movies to have? Like if they reboot this, let's say 20 years from now, let's say 15 years from now, they announce a reboot. So episode 9 will
way too soon.
It is, but let's just we can extrapolate. Episode 9 would be 13 years old, which is not terribly long. And then if they did a new trilogy, episodes 10 to 12, then that trilogy would only be like 5 years old before they reboot. So again, instead of 15 years, say 20 years or 25 years. Like it would still be a pretty short shelf life for the new saga. And I think they could lean on people like Daisy Ridley and John Boyega and Oscar Isaac for another 30, 40 years. I just don't see it happening.
Give me 2 minutes, guys. I got to step away for a sec.
All right, we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
I don't know, James.
No, all I got to say is you better hope that the same parent company that rebooted Spider-Man a bunch of times doesn't get their hand on the Star Wars franchise.
Oh, jeez.
They'll reboot that sucker every 2 years. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, what, Sony? So I think Sony was in the conversation in Lucas's mind as to, when I sell this, who am I going to sell it to? And Disney was number one in his mind, but I think Viacom was on his list. Sprint or one of the big cell providers. Sony was another one. I think Warner Brothers may have been one.
Probably Beelzebub.
Yeah, but imagine, like, maybe Sony would have been like, I don't care. We're going to just scrap everything and start again from scratch, and we're going to make it our way. And that would have been terrifying.
Yeah, even Disney so far has sort of left Lucasfilm alone, hence our little kitty. But the people who bought it could really do whatever they want. That includes Disney. Their plan, their direction could change. You were saying before, as long as Kathleen's in charge, you think it'll go a certain way. I'll tell you what. I think if the Han Solo movie is a bomb, not that I think it will be a bomb, that's not what I'm saying at all, but if it is, Kathleen Kennedy's got to wear a lot of that.
Oh, yeah, I think she would. I think she definitely would.
Do I think she gets fired over one bad movie? Probably not.
No.
But, we'll see what happens then.
Like, it's a bad movie. If it's a bad movie, it'll still be a bad movie that pulls in $1 billion.
Imagine it's a bad movie that pulls in 700 million. Like, just absolutely flops. 600 million. What happens then?
Oh, I think there's a lot of angry people, and they just say, you know what, we better do better next time. Like, I don't know how many mulligans you get.
Does the reboot get closer to happening because of that?
Doesn't get any further away. That's for sure. My final answer is, as long as, like, I can't even entertain the idea of a reboot. Like, if it happens when I'm 70 years old, 75 years old, fine. Like, I will live 75 years of my life with, something I had been passionate about since the beginning. I'm okay. You want to reboot it?
Yeah, but think about that. Like, you're not, like, what's it to them? Like, to me, like, if they're ever gonna do it, it's got to be the 75th or the 100th. It's got to be a monumental thing for them. Like they got to drop and be like, "Oh, this is it," like marketing wise. So I'm hoping, if anything,
Well, in some
it'll be
people's
the
eyes, the
100th.
50th could be that monumental thing.
Well, that's just sad, man.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the big thing for the 50th. Happy birthday, A New Hope. No. You're gone.
No, you said it well just before I had taken off there. Like, you have all these new characters that you can play with for quite some time. And again, I said it earlier too, a galaxy of possibilities throughout all of time.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. Obviously, there's no denying that. There's thousands and thousands of years and millions of other planets and people they could deal with. There's no disputing that. But the bankability of the characters we know, like how much would they love to redo Luke and hammer that young Luke thing home again, and Darth Vader, and redo all of that once again. There's nothing like that. It's you get built-in credibility with that huge cache of like marketable, bankable characters. To bring a new fleet of people into the mix, you don't know what you're going to get. And companies the size of Lucasfilm and Disney, they're not gamblers. They'll take the sure money.
And that's not sure money. Like, I'm putting it out there as a fan and saying, like, it makes my stomach turn, and hopefully I'll be dead again and rolling over in my grave.
So Corey, you don't know how you feel about it then?
Yeah, I'm so confused.
All right, so Dave, I don't know. I think we took pretty clear positions on that.
Except Corey.
he waffled as usual. But yeah, I'll say it gets rebooted, and I'll say I'll be in my 70s.
I say episode 7 was as close to a reboot as we get in our lifetimes.
I like your answer the best.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, and Jeffrey's back, and this, again, a nice little segue into this question. So, hey, Jeffrey, how's it going? He says, hey, my friends, got a question for your new Binary Sunset segment. I like that it's already making its way into the conversation there. Binary Sunset, people. None of us wants to think about this at all, but if Disney were to reboot the Star Wars franchise, not that I think or want this to happen, and you were the president of Lucasfilm, who would you cast as Luke, Leia, and Han? Don't ask me why I thought of that, but with everything being reboots nowadays, I guess it popped into my mind. Just a fun question. Well, Jeffrey, we might have to talk about our definitions of fun. Oh man, I'm kidding. This is kind of a fun conversation because in my mind it's not going to happen. But let's just say it is. They are doing this, and we've purged the contents of our stomach numerous times over. And let's just say that we're going to begin the process of bringing a new version of Star Wars to the masses in the near future. So, how do we do this, guys? I don't know. Like my knowledge of young actors today is virtually nil. It's brutal. So I went about this exercise just thinking that they already have the anchor piece in Alden Ehrenreich, so I'll work from there. Should we roundtable this, or maybe I'll just make Corey speak because my throat's starting to go.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. Let's roundtable it first of all. But there's some obvious answers. Again, Jeffrey, if you've been listening the whole time, obviously you know none of us want this. None of us ever want to see it. But if it's gonna happen anytime soon, we've talked about it recently, and you know, I don't want to go. It's low-hanging fruit, I'm sorry, but, you know, if we're going to get Solo in the mix, it's got to be Alden Ehrenreich. If you're going to get Lando in the mix, it's got to be Danny Glover. You know, like... Or Donald, sorry.
I'm like, wait a minute, what? What's happening here? Like, does Danny Glover still act?
No.
No? He retired?
Yeah. I heard John Hurd passed away this weekend too, eh?
William or John?
I'm pretty sure it's John, the father from Home Alone.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah. So Han Solo, kind of go Alden Ehrenreich, but I try to take it outside the box a bit. If they're actually gonna reboot it, whatever, they're rebooting it. Who gives a crap anymore? Like, they could just take anyone at this point. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be like someone who looks like Han or whatever. So I took instead of Alden Ehrenreich, if just gonna put it out there, Liam Hemsworth. Just because I love the Hemsworths. I think they're super fun guys. And yeah, he's got the swagger, he's got the charisma, and you're kind of reinventing the character a bit anyhow. So why not bring it all up into the 21st century with Liam Hemsworth?
So what you're saying is you're going to hire the unknowns like Lucas had done.
He's not that unknown. It's Chris Hemsworth's brother. Like, he's doing all right.
Yeah, that's totally went over your head. I'm sorry. Maybe it was a bad joke.
Well, whatever.
No, I got it. That's the opposite of what Lucas did.
Yeah, okay, you know what? I will say this. So we've already got a young Han cast. If at some point in the next few years we get a young Luke cast, I will start to worry about the reboot. If they start putting those pieces in place now, I would start to get worried. If that's your thing. Like, if you don't ever want to see a Star Wars reboot, and we've already got the young Han for a specific purpose, but if they also put in place a young Luke, that makes sense in relation to Alden Ehrenreich. Look out, you could be looking down the barrel of a reboot at some point.
I get the Tales of Tatooine, the story of Luke and Kenobi. You can get Luke kind of growing up, Beggar's Canyon, all that stuff.
Shoot swamp rats. That sounds boring, that movie, though.
Well, you mix it. That's it. You mix the Kenobi into it, and then bammo.
Okay, let's stay on point here, kids.
Yeah, all right.
So, who do you guys like for the like? We've talked about who we like for already cast people, but let's get into like who we putting in there. Kyle.
All right, so for Luke, I mean, again, like I said, I don't know young actors, so I could have just went on IMDb and just started poking around until somebody looks like they look the role. But there's an old story from well before The Force Awakens came out that they had cast a young Luke for the flashback sequence, and that guy's name was Robert Bolter. And I guess I
remember.
He looks, I guess, enough like Mark Hamill did back then. So, yeah, go with him. I'm going to assume that there was something to that report, and it just never came to fruition. So, you're going to reboot Luke. Get that guy. Bring him into the mix.
It's funny. My I didn't go surfing around IMDb either looking for a lookalike. I just picked the actor for Luke that sort of reminded me of that Mark Hamill from the early 80s, like a bit whiny. His build and his look actually aren't very good in terms of a match, but I think he'd play a good Luke, and so I picked
don't say Shia LaBeouf.
That guy Peeta. No, Peeta from the Hunger Games.
Oh yeah.
Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't have the floppy hair look at all, but I could see it.
I don't know. I think he's sort of just got the right, lack of self-confidence, or can portray that.
He's definitely a little short to be a stormtrooper.
He's also short to be a stormtrooper, exactly.
All right, what about Leia? I mean, can we?
Well, I want to get my Luke thing in
go
here,
ahead.
man.
Sorry.
No one said Sebastian Shaw, which is pretty.
Well, that's because Sebastian Shaw has been dead for years and years, and was the stand-in for.
No, sorry, Sebastian Stan. You guys seen these photos of the two of them compared side by side?
Yeah, but they've been photoshopped to death.
True, and he's way too old at this point. But, that's, again, the low-hanging fruit, and it's the comparable, like, the visual comparison, which I wasn't really going on this time. So I kind of was looking at good young actors, and I like this kid a lot. I think he's got the emotional resonance, I guess, whatever, as an actor to pull it off. But
You are going
Asa
to say Shia
Butterfield,
LaBeouf.
no, Asa Butterfield. Give him a few years, couple of years while they're filming, and then you can, if you're going to actually do it and reboot it, like Empire takes place and the filming within those, it's like 77 to 83, right? So these people grow not only like mentally and all that, but physically, as from kids to full-grown, full-fledged adults. So Asa Butterfield, he's still a little young, and he's definitely got the acting chops, so I definitely think he can pull it off. And I to look at him, he looks like he's got that innocence and all that. So
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, who's to say? Like, oh, no way, you can't do that.
look, I see it. I can look at that kid right now and just see him screaming at Vader like, "That's not true. That's impossible."
I don't know that I've ever seen him in anything.
Oh my god, I read this book, Ender's Game. He was high up on the list to do Spider-Man as well, very high up, like runner up.
Oh, he would have been a good Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good choice. All right, so what about Leia? I mean, do we have to all just go, yeah, Millie Bobby Brown, because we couldn't think of anything else?
Yeah, I do anyhow, because I also like I picture her and Asa Butterfield playing off each other. I think it's a really good combo.
Are they too far apart in age?
No, I think they're really good in age, like that way. I think it would be perfect. I haven't looked at it, but I haven't looked at the facts there. But
yeah, he's 20 and
my
she's
gut
what?
might 16.
Let's find out.
I don't even think she's 16.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think she's 13. And Mark Hamill had a couple years on Carrie Fisher, but 4 years. Like this, that's a bigger spread. That's 7 years. I don't know. And no doubt, I think she would knock it out of the park as Leia. But if there's still going to be twin brother or sister, maybe you need to bridge that gap a little bit better. But here's I have another question to throw at you guys. But James, who do you got for Leia?
She's not super well known, but something about her look, and she's maybe a bit too old. I think she's 25, but she plays a character on Arrow, which is where I've seen her before, and I've always sort of thought she's got like the toughness about her. Her name's Willa Holland. Look her up on Google.
Yeah, no, that's Green Arrow's younger sister.
Yeah. I don't know, she's got that like feisty sort of toughness about her that I think a young Carrie Fisher would have had.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this? Emma Watson.
She's one of those people that I would just let her do anything at all.
Yeah, I agree with that.
She's got those big eyes, those big. I'm looking at a picture of her right now, and I'm like, yeah.
Well, for her, of course, she's stunning. But I mean, also the acting chops. I mean, she can do whatever she wants.
Yep.
Well, so here's my question.
No disagreement here.
Here's my question to you guys. If they rebooted Star Wars, I personally don't think they would do like a 1-to-1 reboot. Like, I think they would flip people, they would change genders, they would start ticking all those boxes that, people want to have happen. Like, there would be gay characters right off the hop. There would be every single race you could find. Like, Luke and Leia might be Asian in this reboot. You know what I mean? I think that's what they would do. I'm not saying they would specifically make them Asian or whatnot, but I think
I see what you're saying.
Everything would look and feel completely different. Like Leia might be
Like
on
how
the moisture
Doctor Who
farm.
is now a woman, and Thor is, the gender shakeup is sort of popular, and I guess if they're going to reboot it, I have no real problem with that. People are going to hate no matter who they cast in these roles, like the purists, anyways, who don't want to see the reboot. So put in one of the actors that we suggest that looks the part, or switch the gender and switch the race, or whatever. Race is the wrong word. Ethnic background. And, you're still going to piss off the same people, so who cares?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people would be angry, but then again, a lot of people who want this to happen now in Star Wars will go, "Oh man, they're giving us everything we've asked for." I mean, they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but then they're giving us like our dream home.
Yeah, I'm not on board with it, to be honest. I don't know. Like, to me, I would just feel like it's a marketing ploy. Like, I kind of tend to see right through it. Like, okay, like, you're doing this because, like, I get it, but you could do that with other stories moving forward.
I think honestly, Corey, I honestly think if that was the case, you would feel that way about Episode 7. Episode 7 isn't George's dream. It's not an artist's vision brought to life. It's a corporation's
It's the meat. It's the meat grinder. We put in all these ingredients and let's just crank out the sausage.
And I'm not saying it's not great. And I'm not saying there weren't lots of artists involved, but
there was a formula.
It's just marketing.
There was a formula involved.
No, I like that, but like rebooting it again, we're not any of us on board with that. And then rebooting it and changing everything and making it all contemporary again, just to me, it's not that I'm like anti anything. It's that I just feel it all as a money grab and a marketing ploy. Like, I don't see I don't see it making the story at all better. I see it just being a thing like, hey, we're cool, we're staying with the times or whatever, So
you would rather, if they rebooted, let's just, going with the reboot, you'd rather them just do like a 1-for-1 reboot, just cast everybody as close as possible to what they originally were before and just do it again?
No, not necessarily.
Like, I'm actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I would, if they're going to reboot it, if you're going to follow the same template story where you're going to have a Darth Vader, you're going to have a Luke and a Leia, make them all completely different. Shake everything up. You may as well.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, like I said, like if you're doing a reboot in the first place, you already lost me, so do it however you want.
Because there's a lot of people that would, people look to Star Wars to be that change in cinema. And
there's many ways to do that. Many ways to do that. And Star Wars is at the forefront of that right now.
Are they?
Like, yeah. Like, have you seen the last couple of movies?
No.
Rey, Jin, Ahsoka. Like, they're pioneers in that regard, I would have to say. And like, if anyone is complaining about that, like, no. Like, women are at the forefront of Star Wars right now. Afra, like, everything. Ahsoka, like, Leia, Padme.
Yeah, it feels like marketing to me.
No, that's amazing. I love that. And they can keep going on that route. But to reboot them and to make it seems like they're just catering to something. You know what I mean? Like, leave this as it is. Don't reboot it. And that's it. It is what it is. It's a sign of the times. It's a classic. It's a masterpiece.
Well, no, that's the exercise. We're none of us want to see a reboot. Like, we don't want a reboot. But if they're going to, and if Star Wars is something that people look to be a sign of the times and be culturally relevant, you're going to have to tick those boxes and cross those bridges. You could not reboot it and then just say, well, here's your white bread Luke, and look, it's white guy Han, and look, there's white lady Leia. Like, they wouldn't do that. I'm convinced they would not do that.
I agree with you. I agree with you there, 100%. I don't know how they would pick and choose characters to do that, but And you said it before again. You know, if they're gonna reboot it, why not flip it upside down? Like at that point again, I don't care. But like, no, you're right. Like it should be relevant to the times. You can't have an all white cast, and I get that, but I just don't want to like see a reboot. Really, is what I'm getting.
No, I don't think. I would say a very small fraction of Star Wars fandom would ever want to see a reboot.
Are we right about that? Let us know. I wonder if people out there are like, you crazy guys.
I think this. I would imagine this breaks pretty cleanly along an age line. Like I would say, anybody who grew up during definitely the 70s and 80s, I would say are almost I'll die before I see a reboot. Like if you do this, I will kill myself. You know what I mean? Versus people who are a little bit younger who maybe aren't as attached would say, cool, do it, whatever. I still have my old movies, and I can always watch them again.
1990, year of birth.
You know, I will touch upon it in this way. Like, I loved Homecoming so much. I'm gonna say this as well a bit. I think you guys already know, but a bit of a spoiler alert. MJ, to me, has always and will always be a redhead.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And she's not in Homecoming.
Correct.
And I don't think it impacts the story whatsoever.
It doesn't, but for some reason it kind of like, I was like, really? MJ's got to be a redhead? Come on.
Has to be.
But she ain't. and the consensus is this is the best Spider-Man film.
It is. I agree with you.
With the worst MJ.
No, it's just, I don't know. It's not this worst MG or whatever, but there's something about that I was like it just seemed like, I don't know, like.
Dude, it's like if they reboot Star Wars and they make Darth Vader navy blue. Like, come on, man.
I don't know. There's something that seemed off to me about that.
I agree with you. That would really bother me. I'm already like it's already strike one for me against this movie. It's the first knock I've heard, but that's strike one.
You know what it is, James? It's iconic.
It is iconic. Reminds me of a TIE fighter sound.
Yeah, high five. High five.
All right, guys. Let's wrap it all up. Are we done here? Have we done enough?
I'm done with both of you.
You know what I said to Mom and Dad when they brought you home from the hospital when you were born?
When we take him back?
Yeah, he's cute, but how long is he staying? So just watch out. Jeffrey, thank you for the question, sir. As you could tell, we kind of struggle with that one because the idea of rebooting is sort of like having to have a skunk consistently spraying in your face.
Literally.
Basically. All right, guys. Thanks so much. It's getting late here, so we're going to say goodbye. But before we do, where can we find you guys on social media, Corey?
You know you can find me at Chop Rules with a Z.
Zed.
Yeah. Go catch some Z's there, James.
I'm tired. I do have to
That
catch
is true, though.
Zeds.
Nobody ever says go catch some Zeds.
That's another thing, too. Touching back on the SD last week, I should have totally said this with my A3D3 droid. I should have totally had ZZT0P. The ZZ Top droid. Or some of my friends like to say ZZ Top.
It's because they're American. Same with the expression, catch some Z's, because it's American. I don't mind if you're a proud American. Good for you. I think that's terrific. My mom's a proud American. I'm a proud Canadian. I just want to point out that they're different.
How do you say your ABCs? Do you end it in Z?
Y and Z. Yeah.
Y and Z. Now I know my ABCs.
Now I have them in my head.
Oh, my God.
Well, that fell apart.
That's how it goes.
Was it ever
in the
together?
Canadian
It's not that it
version.
fell apart. Was it ever together?
That escalated quickly.
All right, James, where can we find you on Twitter?
I'm still at Tommy Bombadil 1.
Awesome. I'm at Tumbling Saber all over the Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Come check us out. Special thanks to as usual, Ads and Bradley. And also thank you to Dave and Jeffrey. Nice to hear from you guys. Hope to hear from you again. Everybody check out StarWarsCommonwealth.com for some of the finest in nerdy pods out there. And stay tuned later this week. Steve and I are back talking all the stuff from San Diego Comic-Con. And looking forward to bringing that to you later. And thanks for listening. Later, everybody.
Self-redeeming qualities, have they hindered me? Hindering, was I blind to see that you needed me? All of me, well, you were there for me. I will be there too, watching, listening, every moment, wanting all of you. And I believe I can save you. Just don't let me go. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting. Just don't let me go. Just don't let me go. Time goes on and I'm questioning all the things I've seen, crazy things I've seen as I'm watching you. I'm watching you walking away from me. Were you watching me? Was it just a dream? Just a dream. And I believe I can save you. Just don't let me go. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting. And I believe I can save you. Let me save you. And I can see I'll be waiting, always waiting. Just don't let me go. Just don't let me go. Don't let me go. And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting.